So, hi Dave, welcome. Thanks for taking the time.
Sure.
And thanks for giving the support so I can ask you a couple of questions.
Of course.
First one, of course, being with all the confusion, everybody being confused, blockchain is going to change marketing totally and so on and so on and so on. So what do you think the role of creativity is and what it's going to be?
Well, that's a very broad question, but I think the thing with creativity is it's not one thing. Do you know what I mean? People want to put it in a box and define it as, well, it's got an expiration date, or as the mediums are changing, creativity is this. Creativity is as much about innovation. Creativity is about seeing around corners. Creativity is about emotion, surprise, lateral thinking. Every fabric and every part of society needs creativity at the center of it.
Yeah.
And all these new platforms and mediums and expectations, it doesn't eradicate creativity. It just has to manifest itself in different ways. And our job is to be, flexible. Our job is to be spontaneous. Our job is to not hold on to a past expression of creativity, but the intentions of creativity and the possibilities of creativity, just navigate it wherever the future goes. But creativity is the essence of what makes things interesting and surprising and emotional and important.
Right. I have the feeling that since the world seems to be polarized all over, like against Trump, for Trump,
Of course.
against immigrants, for immigrants, whatever.
Yeah.
So to me, like,
Well, I have a strong opinion on both those, but
you can watch it if you
so
want.
it's pretty obvious. I don't even have to say it.
Yeah, but to me, it also seems that there's the Excel side and the creativity side, and the Excel side seems to be winning all over, or at least being leading all over. Like there's no creative council that the UN calls whenever they have a crisis someplace.
Well, that's also because, creativity is not a linear thing, and if we talk about the UN, they need linear things to go through a process of approval, so that's probably why. And I've actually done some work with them, and they're good people with good intentions, but there's just so many layers. But the bigger question is, look, it's probably since the dawn of time there's been conflict and tension between the practical and the daydreamers, always. And the best successes happen when there's a happy medium, where there's a pull and a push on everyone. But look, I think technology, the consumers are different. Technology has made things more exciting, more interesting, and sometimes less interesting and less exciting. But it's not like people's desire as human beings don't pine for creativity of some form. Has music gone away?
No.
No. How people get their music has changed. Has film gone away? No. It is the sort of oxygen of who we are. But yes, in our industry, there's more responsibility and accountability, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, people want me as a creative person to bang the drum just for creativity blindly and rally against, programmatic and data and all that. I'm like, no, why would I? You know what I mean? I want to be nimble, and I want to go wherever the canvases take us. Yes, it's also knowing when there's a place for creativity and when there's not. And that's fine with me too.
Do you think in 10 years one of us here will be replaced by a robot?
Well, there's already lots of robots here, but I would say...
How do you know I'm not one of those?
A robot wouldn't have the confidence to wear that shirt.
Thank you.
But I think the thing is, look, as the world becomes automated, there are lots of jobs that it is just about repeat and learn behavior and things like that. I would speculate, and it's not just my opinion, I've heard other far smarter people than me talk about it. But if 80% of the world's jobs we know now will be automated, what are the things that's going to be harder to automate? Is the lateral thinkers, the spontaneous thinkers.
Right.
You can't program for that. So I think creativity is always going to have a place. Will our industry be the shape it is now? Of course not. And some things will fall away, and that's unfortunate. But I don't think it's any coincidence that the strongest agencies in our landscape are the creative, strategic ones. Yes, we have the onslaught of the huge digital technology companies and all that, and power to them. But there's enough opportunity for all camps. But I'm just happy I'm on the creative side of the ledger.
Well,
it's more fun.
It's a way of life.
Yeah.
And besides the I don't think the consultants have their Excel meetings in this building in Canada.
No, but I think they're also smart. I mean, they're the ones the holding company should be scared of because they're smart enough to know what they're great at and what they're good at.
Yeah.
But they're also smart enough to know what they don't do. So that's why they're buying, these creative agencies all over the world.
Well, talking about that, do you think the creative clubs should open their doors to all creative people, not only advertising people, but architects and designers and whatever?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Because we all influence and shape each other, and we're all fighting for the same output. And what we can't do is try and defend turf that's shrinking.
Yeah,
that's crazy. If the island's getting smaller and smaller, instead of just trying to defend that, let's just bring in more islands. Let's bring in that because, as I said, we can all help each other here.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What do you think of the role of the creative clubs in general, like with all the holding companies and all the consultants coming in and all the networks and whatever there is, the tech companies and media companies and whatever, the creative clubs are usually much smaller in revenue or whatever measure you use, except naming members, volunteer members. So what do you think of their role?
Well, I think the primary role, I imagine, of all creative clubs is more than just like a celebration or prizes and stuff. I think it's about inspiring and fostering the new people coming in the industry. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what clubs can do because, it's not about profit and loss. It's about, human capital and the farm system of getting new young creatives in.
Right.
And that can come from all walks of life and all mindsets, and it can be, coders, designers, whatever it is. We can all shape, and that's why the advertising is so amazing now because where our creativity can go and be relevant has changed. You see it in the festival. Some of the things you're like, 10 years ago, they would never have considered that advertising or marketing. No. But it is all that now. Anything that has a form of education, inspiration, communication, sales is advertising. And every single person technology has turned every person, social media has turned every person into an advertising agency.
Yes.
Anybody that has an Instagram account runs an advertising agency because every day they post a campaign about themselves, of what they want the world to think about them, how they feel. So everyone understands brand, everyone understands communication.
Right.
So it's, I think these clubs, they're important. They need to not be so insular, and they need to be open up to sort of greater influences. Yeah. And they need to set a standard that gets young talent excited by the platforms and opportunities that advertising has, because we do have more opportunities than other industries, and we forget that.
Okay, now if there was a young talented people who has already decided to come to the marketing communications industry, the advice people usually give them is learn coding. What would be your advice?
Well, coding is a technique, but it's like to do what? Like what do you want to do? What impact do you want to have? What do you want your career to do for you personally and for the world at large? You know what I mean? And then work backwards from that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't choose I want to be a coder, I want to be this. I'd be like, okay, do I want to contribute to business? Do I want to contribute to social good? Do I want to, and if you can't answer that question, then you should be in advertising because as a creative, because you can touch all of those. But coding, don't be afraid of technology. I don't know how to code. I'm jealous of people who can. I have an appreciation of it, but I'm curious between, the skill sets that the storytellers and the coders have. And in many ways, the coders are storytellers now. They're architects designing things in a digital world.
You could learn to code.
I could.
That's what people tell me, but I don't know.
No, of course. I mean, there's spectacular people in my office, and I see my kids. I mean, they know more about all that than I do. And it's amazing. I'm actually, a lot of people are anxious about what's going on in the industry. I'm not at all. I mean, I think it's harder, but it's more exciting. Yeah. That's what I would say.
So, then again, what should we do to get the best talent in our industry? Because
make them realize that we're not one-dimensional. We're not there selling cars and whatever, TVs. As I said, we're also communicating behalf on political people. We're advocating for social good. We're helping redefine, advertising is a very crucial, important part of society, not just of the capitalist side.
Yeah.
Advertising, the word advertising is kind of a tainted word.
Yeah.
But the spirit of sort of being problem solvers and thinkers and communicators, that's never going to go out of style.
Yeah.
So just make them realize that it's, you get to choose it all. You get a coloring bag with lots of different colored pencils, not just one color.
Yeah. Is there anything you have in mind that you'd like to tell the creative clubs and their members and the industry, like anything specific you want to say to them?
I mean, no, and that doesn't mean I don't care or anything. I mean, I just think as a creative, we're kindred spirits from wherever you come from.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And even before you were paid to be a creative, you knew you were a creative person. You know what moves you. You know what inspires you, and be grateful that we have that side of the brain.
Yeah.
But don't get so caught up and realize, how can I parlay that into impact in a business, and then you've got a legitimate, exciting career.
Right.
But the more we band together,
Yeah.
and stop thinking about woe is the day, start thinking about, okay, now is the time.
Yeah. And cooperate with other creative people.
Yeah, collaboration
And-
is the
and
new
business
competition.
people. Yeah.
Collaboration. We're in the era of collaboration. We're better for it.
Yeah. Okay, Dave. Thank you.
Pleasure.
That's about it.